this Aquarian age. What does that mean? Well, the ages are like 2,200 year long cycles. This isn't an overnight thing, right? These are hundreds of years, these processes. But what it really means is that we have an archetype, a pattern of energy, the sign of the zodiac, that sort of governs the collective themes and motifs that we all sort of operate under. So during the Piscean age, which has been really the last couple thousand years, we were sort of governed by this overarching archetype of, spirituality and arts, the imagination, a myth that governed us. And it really looked like a lot of the religious teachings that govern most of this age, right? And we go back to really the beginning, when Christ was on the planet in that sort of time period, as sort of marking the early entrance into the Piscean age. And there's been a lot of beauty in this time, and the arts coming together in the sense of narrative and mythology and dream and film and all of these developments. But one of the shadows that we're trying to transcend as a generation now, a couple generations, is the Piscean shadow of projection. And the projection is that there is a savior or a redeemer outside of ourselves. The other projection is that there's someone to blame, or there is some guilt that we need to harbor for something we did wrong, which always is somebody else's projection, right? So in this, we're kind of in these stories. Like we're fish, Pisces fish, swimming in these oceans of stories, right? And there's no freedom in that. The sense of the guilt or the blame or the victimization, right? It's the government's fault, or it's that lover's fault, or my parents' fault. None of that is going to be taken into this Aquarian age, because Aquarius is about a very different energy. Whereas we're the fish swimming in opposite directions. Our stories are battling with each other in the Piscean age. In the Aquarian age, we ascend. We rise out of the water, and we become the water bearer. Okay, Aquarius is the water bearer. And it's really, the symbol for Aquarius, those they're like kind of electric bolts, but they're actually like chi, or prana, or energy. So we start to recognize that we're energetic beings, and that the most important thing we can do collectively is support each other realizing our creative potential. And this means that no one can be to blame, right? And no one has control over us. It's all coming from this God within, this goddess within, right? And that's the opposite sign of Leo, right? So you're always going to get the opposite when you're going into an age, Aquarius. You're going to integrate the opposite sign of Leo. So the Leo creator in all of us is going to infuse the collective with what needs to be created. Well, in that, we can't run a story of being guilty or blaming someone. We have to take the reins of the creator and channel it through us. Right? So what we're looking at is more and more as we move into this age and with this transit, right, where we're trying to break through all of those stuck energies, those triggers and those hooks that get us. Uranus, Pluto is trying to liberate us from all of that. And so what we're looking at is, how can I engage it? Like Reed had a great comment about this last night. Transparency is the new fidelity. It's that kind of thing. In Aquarius, Aquarius is a sign of cosmic friendship. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're definitely tapping in now to a different version of how we define ourselves, and it's much more multidimensional, right? We don't have one relationship. Like in the Piscean age, mostly we had this kind of long-term relationship and and a family, and now it's like we have all of these friendships. We can have lovers all over the world. We can go visit them. We can have Skype sex with them if we want. Pretty soon, I would imagine by the end of the decade, we're going to get into some kind of tactile technology that's transmitted through Skype and wireless. So we're going to some very interesting spaces where we're transcending space and time in some way. Hard to fathom all of it, but we have to be ready to shift the paradigm at any moment under the Aquarian age, and definitely under the Uranus-Pluto square. We're on the roller coaster ride, you know, and it's like if we try to hold on, we're going to get carpal tunnel, and then we're not going to be able to pleasure ourselves or anyone else. Right? We're gonna, if we throw our hands up in the air and we shake it out, you know, that's that energy of that kind of, okay, our nervous systems are definitely, you know, high strung right now, but we need to have fun in the process of adaptation, acceptance, allowance. You know, Aquarius is a very tolerant sign, right? It's about the access of total freedom. And there is a sense of an experimentational quality to everything that we're doing, including our relationships. So if we're experimenting, there's no judgment, right? We're just discovering. So the true essence of science is really that. It's really a process of discovery. Now, science can be used in a religious way, which it's been doing out of the Piscean age, but the true essence is that we're always going to be learning, discovering, and in that process, we can't label or judge anything, right? We just have to tap into our creative potential. So in our relationships, we're working on mirroring back or reflecting back that creative essence in the other, and also the essence of innocence, right? That we've never really done anything wrong. We're always in this learning process, and we've all been conditioned. Now, this is where we started to get into the power of astrology, or another practice that I do called human design. These are languages that show us how we've been conditioned in our lives by our environments, but also through our karma, through past lives, through energies that we've been working, through different incarnations, and through different relationships with different souls. So what we are needing in the Aquarian age are these energetic languages that help to free us. And part of the freedom is helping to discover the multidimensional nature of who we are, which is saying, basically, I'm composed of a lot of deities, you know, these forces, and some of them are getting along really well with each other, and some of them are conflicting and battling. This is what the planets are inside of us when we were born. And when we talk about an aspect, like an opposition or a square, we're talking about a dialogue or a dance between those parts inside of us. When we look at a couple and we talk about an opposition between the sun and the moon or a square, we're looking at the dance between those forces inside of them, right? So it's a really beautiful experience to see how all of these different deities, divine forces in you, dance within yourself and also between you and a beloved, right? It's also very liberating.